D23, aka Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Okay, so welcome to the show. This is the Star Wars news. Let's get on with it. Besides being absolutely cold from Melbourne, that is cold here. It's very, very cold. Just to give you an idea, our football here last week, after the show, our footy, which is football here in Melbourne, Australia, had snow. It's never snowed at the footy or football, as you may know it as. That was last week. That was after the show. But anyway, that's not Star Wars. Just to let you know how cold it is here at the moment. It's not Chicago cold, let me tell you, that was cold. But let's get on with the Star Wars news. It's now about 123 days to the Rise of Skywalker. That's episode 9, the Rise of Skywalker. 123-ish days to the Rise of Skywalker. It is coming very soon. Trailer is coming soon. You can feel it like the Force, but just hold on. Whenever it drops, every Star Wars head in the world will be rocking up or down. It's sort of the feel of Star Wars these days. But anyway, to more news. D23 is seriously around the corner. D23 is a Disney fan event. Everything Disney will be there. It's called D23. It's going to be in Anaheim. It's around the corner. Hold on to your hats. It's I think it's in the next week. So big announcements. The trailer or teaser for episode 9 hasn't dropped as yet. It could drop just before the event. I don't know. But if it doesn't, that is the next likelihood. D23 at one of those days in Anaheim. But it's coming around the corner. And just to let you know, I'm sporting the Force Always Jedi Knight robe. It's very good, especially for the cold here. Anyway, so to more news, Resistance it's just showed off the final season, which was the second season for Resistance, and that will be coming soon. The trailer looks good. It's one of those shows that I was interested in. I would like to see more of it. I just don't have access to it. But it's in its second season. It's the final season, and that's for Resistance, Star Wars Resistance. It's a pure cartoon. It's based around the sequel period, so check that out if you can. Anyway, so to more news, Triple Force Friday is coming soon as well. That's in October, early October, from what I can tell, October 4. That's Triple Force Friday. Why is it Triple Force Friday? It will be showcasing the Rise of Skywalker merchandise, The Mandalorian, which is a new TV series coming to Disney Plus, Disney Plus is coming soon as well, which is a streaming service. It's a TV live action series helmed by Jon Favreau. That's early October. Anyway, so Triple Force Friday will include the Rise of Skywalker, The Mandalorian, and a game called Jedi Fallen Order, I think it is. So merchandise for that as well. So triple, so 3 times of the Star Wars things in one day will be hitting the shelves, which I think it could be a very confusing Force Friday, I think, but great for the hardcore Star Wars heads, but throw that all at once in a toy store for the regular person. They won't know what the hell's going on. Is this for the same movie? What is this? What is this old stuff? Is this new stuff? What is it? It's going to be interesting how they actually market this in the actual toy store, but that's another thing. So that's October 4, that's coming soon as well, just to let you know. So that's the Star Wars news for this time around. Let's get into the views. Views this time around it's not about how many views one gets on a YouTube channel. It's not predictions, it's my story ideas for anything Star Wars. And at the moment I've been really focusing on episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I think there's 2 iconic aspects to a Star Wars film, which is many, but let's say the 2 is the start and the end. How does it start? How does it end? And like visually, I'm saying, like, how does the canvas look? I think a great beginning which I've actually had since episode 7. But because this is sort of the apparent conclusion of all the sagas, I think it would be great to start off with the Millennium Falcon coming through. In fact, in sort of a similar way, but different, similar entrance to how we saw A New Hope, the original Star Wars, 1977, when the big the spacecraft came overhead. Back then it was like this thing that just never ended. I mean, you don't get that feel these days. It's unusual. We've seen it so many times, it sort of goes over in a moment. But back then it felt forever, and it was like this magnitude of a star spacecraft. I would like to see in that sort of manner, but with the Millennium Falcon coming in for the start of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. It's not a complete story idea, but it's how you begin the story of Episode 9. It sort of pays homage to the iconic Millennium Falcon. I think it would be great. It's never been done where it's started off with the Millennium Falcon. I think that would be great. Maybe not the Millennium Falcon going overhead in such a manner like the big one in A New Hope, but maybe something similar to that effect, giving its sort of weight, giving its iconic understanding in Star Wars. That's what I think should happen in Episode 9 at this point. That's my views for this time around. Let's get on with reviews. Reviews is actually about Resistance. Okay, Resistance. It's not about reviewing the actual show, it's how it's been perceived, how it's been on the outside of it. I've not been able to see many episodes, but from an outside perspective, as a Star Wars fan, I would have loved to have more easier access to this show, but it's just a bit hard coming from this side of the planet, and obviously living regular life and stuff like that, with time availability to get home at night and watch it and things like that. I am interested in it. I think the cartoon really is, it really has that Saturday cartoon sort of feel, like from what back in my day, or even after school cartoons, as we had here in Australia. We used to always have the Bugs Bunny show about 5 p.m. weekdays. It was always great as a kid in the 80s. But I think that is a sort of older way of thinking. I think it confused its audience. It tried to capture the adults who can reflect on that sort of Saturday cartoon sort of thing, but had a sort of a story or stylized show for kids. So both weren't really watching it, I think, because of the interest of what it looked like and that sort of feel of the storytelling. Look, I think from an outside perspective, I think the whole Resistance idea, I'd give it about a 6 out of 10. I would like to see it, and I will see it if it comes out to Blu-ray or DVD or whatever it is. But from an outside perspective, I think 6 out of 10 for how the show's sort of been, seen and heard. There's not really much effect to it. The whole thing that Star Wars is missing is connectivity and sort of moving forward. That's what I think is missing from Star Wars nowadays. But anyway, so 6 out of 10 for the outside perspective for Resistance. Unfortunately, Resistance is coming to a close. Second season, final season that is, as I said earlier in the show in the news. Anyway, so let's get now into the interviews. Interviews is 2Q, 2 questions. Well, I asked myself, for you guys out there, what does Triple Force Friday mean? As I sort of said earlier in the show, it's a triple event. How this is going to be marketed is going to be interesting, but it's going to be for The Mandalorian, The Rise of Skywalker, no in particular order either, and Jedi Fallen Order. Toys, merchandise for those 3 things, release all on the one day. It's going to be a collision, I think, but that's what it means. What is Triple Force Friday? It's those 3. The Mandalorian, The Rise of Skywalker, which is Episode 9, and Jedi Fallen Order, which is a game, electronic game, which looks fantastic. It's going to be for all those 3 coming out on, at the moment, from what I can tell, October 4. So that's what it means. So that's the first question. Second question, what does Triple Force Friday need to do? Whew, man, it is going to be, it needs to be sectioned off in the actual store in almost like colors. The color will define each section. It needs a description of what these three things are to the common person, because it is an intense time for regular people. But I think that the big merchandise needs to be really front and center, which is Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. That needs to be front and center. And the other two, I think Jedi Fallen Order needs a small display, and I think the medium display needs to be The Mandalorian. The importance of the movie, which is Episode 9, is what holds Star Wars together. The Mandalorian looks really, really good, and it's got a lot of hype, especially for hardcore Star Wars heads. But it's not what holds Star Wars together at this stage. So you really need to focus on the front and center, Episode 9. That needs to be the big front and center display. Mandalorian needs a smaller display, and Jedi Fallen Order smaller. Technically, if you're to really push this properly, you want to sell your weakest, biggest, and your biggest in a small way. But I think personally, people won't know what these three things are as three things. They're going to think it's all just about the next Star Wars film. It needs to be sectioned off in a sort of color look in its displays in the store, whatever store it is, and a description of it. Even with a TV that you find in everywhere these days, even petrol stations, sort of displaying the preview or to what it is, so people get an idea. Even kids can watch this and sort of get an idea. But Triple Force Friday is going to be great for the Star Wars heads, the hardcore Star Wars heads. But that, to translate what that is to a regular person, is going to be interesting. They really do need to market this very carefully on that one day if they're still going to go ahead with the three things in the one day. That's what I think. That's the answer to that question. Anyway, so that's interviews 2Q for this week. 2 questions I asked myself for you guys. Anyway, so please contact me via YouTube or even Instagram, which is down here. My details, or even Twitter. You know, like and share this video. The Force Always is only on YouTube. It's a weekly Star Wars show. I've been rocking for a number of years now. And as I'm loving this sort of cozy Jedi robe, which is a bathroom robe, which I'll tell you what is a great investment. And in fact, I've embroidered on the back of the Force Always, so, you know, I'm representing, as they say. But anyway, until next time, keep rocking.